No, that's
No.
not.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are not going to talk about the thing that everybody probably knows that we were maybe going to talk about, but we're not going to talk about that. Happy Black Friday. Hopefully you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I ate way too much food because my family, my little family nucleus, we go from one to another to another. I think we went to like 4 yesterday. And we
Holy
have to eat
smokes.
at all of them. And it's just, my wife and I, at the end of the day, we're like, we're not doing this again. I'm not. We're going to make Italian and we are going to be done and everybody's going to come to our house and I'm not fighting this anymore. And I don't even like turkey. What am I doing? But we're going to have a Black Friday special. How are you guys doing? How was your day?
Good.
Yeah. Bob, you got back from the Chiefs game.
I did. I went to the Chiefs game. It's the first time I've been in like 20 years, I think.
Shocker that again we went on the last play.
Yeah, it was not a great game.
Sorry, spoilers. Spoilers.
It was fun. I mean, I hadn't been there in forever. The stadium's changed. The last time I went there was when the Stones played. So it's been a while since I've been in that stadium. I went there all the time back when the Wizards played.
Mm-hmm.
You must have been in like the press box or something because your face doesn't look red or sun wept or anything. No,
it was 36 degrees. It's not the middle of the summer.
It was not that bad. No, it was not that bad. The weather was actually pretty nice. But if I did turn my head, I could see Taylor Swift. So,
yeah,
that got a lot more attention than a lot of other things. It was.
I'm sure. But how was your Thanksgiving?
My pies turned out great. My turkey was mediocre. It was probably the worst one I've done in a while.
But you're a very hard critic on yourself. So it was probably the best turkey ever in existence.
No,
Bob's like, this sucks. This is the worst thing ever. It's charcoal. And it's just oozing juice and stuff. And he's over here.
It did not this time. So I had failed a little bit. I didn't get it fully thawed. So there was some temperature issues. And to make sure it was fully cooked, I might have overcooked it. And I didn't bag it this time on this particular recipe that I was using. I normally do something different, but I had like a spice kit that I found in the back of my closet from like 2 years ago. I'm like, it expired 2 months ago. I might as well use this. And I didn't do it right. But oh well.
What about you, Jonathan?
I had the best turkey I've had in years. It wasn't mine. My brother made it. They put peppers under the skin of the turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Cooked it with that. So it was like sports pepper with a little bit of spice and all kinds of bell peppers and some jalapeno, like just different types of peppers underneath the skin. And it infused that turkey meat with some really good flavor. I liked it a lot.
That's good.
I'm not much of a cook like you guys. I know Bob especially is a big.
Your wife is.
Grill. Yeah, so to me, like, I didn't even know you put things under the skin of a turkey. The only reason I even knew that.
Where did you think stuffing came from?
Oh, okay, that doesn't go under the skin. That goes.
Well, it's like technically it's under the skin partly. Bob's over here. No, that's wrong. That is.
So I saw a meme on Facebook that was kind of just a joke video where a guy was just stuffing multiple, like 16 sticks of butter under the skin of a turkey to like make a butter turkey.
It's delicious if you do that.
Probably pretty good.
Not 16 sticks of butter.
I thought it was a joke.
No. I mean, like you do an herb butter and like pat that whole section underneath the skin. You pull it up around the breast, fill that all with like an herb butter. It's delicious.
I thought you were going to say he was sticking 16 turkeys underneath the skin of a turkey, and it was just going to be this inception of turkeys that Jonathan was eating.
I need to do the turducken.
Speaking of that, I did see another funny video on Facebook about that. The parents planted a baby like quail or something inside the turkey, and then they had the oldest daughter like cutting the turkey, but she was still pretty young, and so she's cutting and she's like cutting into the baby quail, and she pulls the quail out and she's like, "It was pregnant."
Oh,
why would you do that? That's awful. You're scarring a child for the rest of their life.
Oh, I thought it was real funny. And
there's Jonathan like, in the corner.
The younger sisters started crying, and all the girls were like running away screaming.
Oh no!
This was the first year I had the ethical conversation about Thanksgiving with a child. My daughter was like, "Are we going to eat turkey? I mean, that's a bird. Turkeys are nice, aren't they?" And she's like, "We shouldn't eat turkey." And I said, "Well, do you like Chick-fil-A?" She's like, "Well, yeah." "Are you going to stop eating Chick-fil-A? That's chickens." And she says, "No, I like Chick-fil-A." "Or are you going to stop going to Culver's? That's hamburgers. Those are from cows. Are you going to stop going to Culver's?" "Well, I like hamburgers."
"Yeah,
but I don't like turkey."
"Well, then don't eat turkey."
So, yeah, They're a mean bird.
I mean, look at them. Would you be that mean if you were that ugly?
No, so so
I would.
I went to U of I, and the dorm I was at, we'd get flocks of turkeys that would walk by down the street, and they just attack like students.
Are they worse than geese?
Oh yeah,
Geese
yeah.
can be or swans. Sorry, it's swans.
No, they'll
Geese
just
too.
walk down the sidewalk and just hang out there, and they'll just attack groups of people. And they're big birds.
Pretty
Oh,
tame.
yeah.
You're trying to hunt a turkey, they'll see you from a lot further away than you see them.
I heard a random stat today that a turkey is the 3rd heaviest flying bird. Yes, they do fly.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So how do
think
we?
of the two that are heavier?
It is a albatross,
Yeah.
and then
Albatross is
some
bigger
type
than
of
the turkey, huh?
swan.
Okay.
Okay.
Some type of swan. So, yeah, 3rd heaviest flying bird, and they don't look very graceful when they fly, but they get it done.
Albatross is the one with that like 12-foot wingspan or something.
Yeah, they never land. They just kind of take off and then fly around forever and don't see land for 9 years. Not 9 years. It's like a year or so. They go out to sea. So they're really heavy. You wouldn't think that, like a
What
really
about,
heavy
like, one of
bird.
those big eagles, like the Australian
No.
eagle that like picks up a goat on that cliff and flies away with it. You seen that video? That's crazy.
I think he dropped it down the cliff. He didn't like fly off with it. He's like, whoo, just dropped it. So maybe that was a more efficient way because he wasn't carrying it. But no, I mean, this was a random internet stat. So who knows if it was true? It was.
It's on the internet. It had to be true.
Exactly. I mean, like our conversations for the whole week, and I won't say anything else. It was on the internet, so it's got to be true. How was your guys' Black Friday? Jonathan, you were like, we need to have a Black Friday special. So I'm assuming you've been looking at some stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
First
I
thing
didn't
in the
really
morning,
buy that much, but I really enjoy looking for deals. And there
First thing in the
deals.
morning, you send me that Hisense TV. I'm like, scam alert! And he's like, it's from Best Buy. Darn!
Yeah. Well, we could talk about that real quick.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
There's a Hisense 100-inch TV for $1,600 shipped. You can't do local pickup. You got to
delivery
ship it.
only.
Isn't that wild? I mean, gosh, the shipping on a 100-inch box has got to be like by freight, and so if they don't have local drop off from Best Buy, it's got to be $300 or $400.
Now that I think about it, though, how is a normal Joe Schmo going to get that home from a store?
And do they want the liability to say, I got it home and it was broken? No,
yeah, they're going to break a lot more taking those out of a store than they will if they have them delivered to the house.
Because I'm thinking about a 77, and in my truck, granted, the truck beds are getting smaller. It's like a 5.5-foot bed. You have to lower the tailgate, and it's sticking a little bit out over the tailgate, not out past the tailgate, but like into the tailgate. And that's a 77. So an 83 is going to be a little bit past that. And the 97 or 100 is going to be off the back, I would imagine.
And they're getting wide enough that you can't lay them flat.
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the mechanics of that don't make sense, that you can produce something like that, account for retail markup, account for return margin, and sell it for $1,600 with the
delivery. Ship it across the ocean in containers.
Makes me wonder about the quality of the panel.
So I did look it up on RTING or RTINGS.
I just call it ratings.
Yeah. And it only, that particular panel doesn't have very good contrast. It only
Come on.
1,500 to 1.
Oh, it's like the DLP of TVs.
It's
puts out a 100-inch screen.
100-inch screen. Very bright. The contrast rating on it was the worst spec on it. I'm not even sure. I mean, VA panels are 3,000 to 1. So it almost, would it be an IPS or like a cheap LCD? I didn't look at it that closely to.
I don't
know. How bright
know.
was it though?
Let's bring it up. Let's see it. Let's do it.
Let me go to it. It was on ABS forum, so I'll bring it up. That's a good idea. So the share screen, entire screen. All right, tell me if you can see it. Oh, the HDR thing got me. Let me turn off my HDR.
Oh my God, it's so.
This is every week, isn't it?
It's so white.
How about that?
Wouldn't you think that Microsoft eventually will just do auto switching?
Yes, you would think.
You would think that, and they never will.
Hey, pop up here. Does that look better?
No.
Inception.
That does.
Okay, so here we're going to go to the forums and the hot deals section.
Is it the deal?
It is one. I think that's one of the better
deals. It's the deal. It's the top. How many people have posted in that already?
Nobody. Just only me and Square 80 liked it. Nobody else.
Oh,
But here's I
can you
mean, it
zoom
goes
in a
to
little
Best
bit?
Buy,
Oh, no,
and
never mind.
there's no trickery. I mean, like, you can order it, and
That's insane.
it's delivery, and it's 100-inch, and there's you pay tax. That's it. That's the only fee. So whatever your tax is. Now, if we take that model and go to RTNINGS. You think it's ratings? Is that how they're? They should just
I
drop
don't
the
know.
original
That's what I've
name.
always called it, but who knows if I'm right. I'm probably wrong. I am with everything else. At least that's what my wife says.
Okay, so
7.2. That is not
terrible
good.
contrast means blacks are gray most of the time. If I scroll down here, you can get to where they kind of show this stuff. This is the bad part.
Zoom in.
Yeah, tell me when it's better.
Good.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not great. I do want to know what the panel type is, though, to have that kind of thing, because VA should be 3,000 to 1. So what are you running to get 1,500 to 1?
Bottom of the barrel VA? I don't know.
It says QLED IPS panel. Okay, actually, that's pretty good for IPS, because IPS a lot of times says 1,000 to 1, doesn't it? So, I mean, IPS, for those watching that might not know, that's the traditional monitor style, like any kind of business class monitor
Better viewing
will
angles.
have that.
Yep.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like a business class monitor will be more like 300, 400, 500 to 1.
What's
So,
this light output though? Lighting zones is good.
Here's HDR brightness.
Yep.
So it's in this range. Looks like
So 100% window is 440. Well, it's consistent through the whole thing. 2% 440, 100% 440. So it really doesn't care.
Yeah, now I think here's your SDR brightness. It's really
Same.
not any different.
It's the same.
HDR and SDR.
It's probably only doing SDR. What's its color volume? That's 709. Go up. Okay, so
Color
it's getting
gamut.
out. Well, it's clipping. You can see the green starting to clip.
70% of 2020 and
Yeah.
94% of P3.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, for somebody who just wants a big, huge TV in the living room with plenty of lights on, that'll be fun. It's not going to be a nighttime.
I was thinking about this today.
screen.
That projector screen that I think we put in here, wasn't that 100 inches?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's enormous.
Yes.
Holy.
It's 144 hertz. It's got VRR, so you can play your games on it.
I thought about buying one.
$1,600. It's just kind of ridiculous. It really is just kind of ridiculous.
I thought about buying one to put where that screen is.
And those 86-inch TVs, I mean, just the cheap LED or LG ones have been a bargain forever too. If you just want a big screen,
Yeah,
they're what, $700 or $800 right now.
Maybe we should start a little company here in Kansas City. Like somebody said, U-Haul for large screens. We just drive around to all the Best Buys and stuff and just advertise. Hey, we'll take your TV home for you.
The other one I want to talk about on the ABS forum links that I saw that I thought was really good. There's two. This one's the 3,800 is back to $1,000 at Adorama. No, actually, the 3,800 is not at Adorama. It's another place, but it's at $1,000. It's right.
Yeah, it is.
What was the name of it? Some sort of electronic shop.
B&H?
It might be actually on Slick Deals for that one. It doesn't look like that one's advertised here.
What about the clip?
But Adorama goes by the name Knuckle Rama, the person that posts for their deals. Like that's their agent or their representative that posts it.
I didn't know that.
Yes. This is actually interesting here. This Yamaha, say it Avantage?
Avantage,
Avantage.
That's not bad for 700. Those Yamahas are good receivers. This one, though, is the one that caught my eye out of the deals. And there's also this, before we go into the Integra, this Onkyo RZ50. We've talked about that on the podcast before. 9.2 channels, Dirac built in, the base Dirac, $780. That's pretty good. You know, that's usually hovering around $1,000.
Well, Sheldon had that.
Yep, and he liked it a lot.
Yep.
Now, this is what I think that if you were like a bargain shopper and you want 9 channels or 11 channels, as it were, you know, if you had your own amp, this is a good way to go. Because it's this Integra DRX 3.4. And I reached out to someone about this today. He's like, I don't know much about Integra. I said, that's Onkyo's top line. So like as Lexus is to Toyota, Integra is to Onkyo. So, or Marantz is to Denon, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to be a lot more close under the hood than what it would be otherwise reasonable. But it's got pre-outs, it's got 9.2 channels, it's got 8K, VRR, HDMI 2.1, all that stuff, and it's $580. I mean, that is really cheap. That's probably about as cheap as you're going to get for a 9.2, I think.
I do have an Integra 2.4 and the step down from that needs a
Mhm.
home. If anybody wants it for like $350.
Well, there you go. Is that a 7 or a 5 channel?
7.2.
Yeah, that's a great price. So yeah, those are the two like AV products I think that were kind of like the standout.
Did you see the
deals.
Klipsch subwoofers?
I didn't see them on the AVS forum. Are they out on Slick
The
Deals?
1400 is on sale right now for $700.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's really cheap.
That's
What about
insane.
the 1600?
I just saw it on Slick Deals, so I didn't actively go look. Let's go to the Klipsch's, or it's usually Klipsch that sells them at that price, isn't it? Or is it Adorama?
I think it's Autorama.
Well, let's find it. See if we can find it.
Well, you got to find a link because if you ever go to their site without going, even these things here, if you don't go by their direct referral link, it'll just be normal price.
I'm going to Slick Deals. Let me see if I can find it.
So another thing, we've talked about OLEDs being so wonderful for computer monitors. They got 48s here for $599, B4, and they got a C4 for 700 something. If you considered doing a 42-inch or 48-inch OLED for your computer monitor, don't delay. You're gonna wish you'd done it before once you try it. It's so good.
That's what we use, or what I use. You use it now.
Yep. I've been using it for a year or two at this point, and I love it. Like
Bob?
I love it.
I need 1 to 2 of them.
Yeah. There's no going back.
Yeah, they're really like a better mousetrap.
I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take the screen share here.
Sure.
Wow. So this is what we got here. Pardon my dogs. I'm in the wrong view here. There we go. So you can kind of see that. So the Klipsch 1600 SW is on sale for $900. The 14 700 and the 12 is $529. That's insane.
Those are great prices. We've seen that 900 before on the 16-inch, I think once, right? It's been hovering around the 1,000, 1,100, 900, but that's about
this is actually a decent sub. Like it rates very and measures well.
Which is the one that was at M-Wave last year?
This one.
That one? Okay.
Yes. Yep. It does really well. We all liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Did a good job. I mean, it kept up with everything minus the RS1. And I think it actually measures better. Can you pull up the Audioholics measurements? They actually did a comparison of all of these like 16-inch subs, and I think this one actually measured pretty well. They did that shootout, if I remember correctly, James did with a bunch of subs, and I think this one actually did.
I'll send you the link in private chat if you're still sharing. Are you still sharing right now?
Yep.
Okay.
Just waiting for.
There it is.
Let's grab this. Let's put this here. Boom.
And for those of you who don't know what Slick Deals is, as Ryan had up, it's a deal forum. So it's not. Yes, there's like affiliate links and so forth in there, but it's a deal forum, and people post their deals, and then the community rates them up. And if they get X amount of ratings, like thumbs up, then they go to the front page. So there's a forum underneath the front page that has everything under the sun, and the front page supposedly has the cream of the crop.
So there's the measurements.
Yeah, looking at that right now.
It rolls off at about 16
hertz,
17 hertz, somewhere in that realm.
So your F3's like 16.
That's a nice flat response. There's no
pretty good. Yep. You can see the port when it comes back up where the port kicks in.
Yeah.
You're still 105 at 16.
There was a shootout. Audioholics. Klipsch versus SVS. There was a. Where is that thing? There was like this. Let's see if we can find it. Product reviews. Jonathan, you may be better with their website than I am.
actually haven't seen the shootout that you're talking about. So
I read it. I've just got to find it. So if you guys can bear with me, were there any other deals that you saw?
Yeah, I
Jonathan,
mean, there's
while I go
Blu-rays
through
all
this?
over the place, which are always kind of fun for Black Friday. I just picked up a couple of them this year. I got Batteries Not Included, which was an old
It's a
childhood
great
favorite.
movie. That
I'm
is a
gonna introduce
great
my kids
movie.
to it. It was like $6 on Amazon. And then I got
Oh, is it? I
Dune.
need to go buy that.
Yep, and then Dune 2, which I haven't bought yet, has such good sound. The movie's not as good as the first one, in my opinion,
It's
but
so loud.
it's a lot of fun. And that one was 13 on Amazon for the 4K version.
Where is this thing? So it's not in the reviews.
And then I've been kind of looking for a table saw, which I've been asking Bob and Ryan about some questions about today. There's a skill saw on Slick Deals that's $250. It's normally about $300, so it's not that big of a deal, but has really good reviews. I might pick that up.
Which one are you looking at?
He's looking at a little job site saw.
Mm-hmm.
The DeWalt?
It's a Skill, SKIL.
Oh, okay.
What's your opinion on SKIL brand, like Skill?
Who owns Skill?
I don't even know who owns it these days. I mean, they used to be a big brand. I mean, that whole skill saw
name came from that, didn't it?
Yeah.
I wanted to. You guys have been steering me towards the track saw, but the track saws are so expensive, man. It looks
they have cheaper ones.
It looks like they're like $500 to get like
to get a good one
to get like a track saw. It's got decent name behind it.
The problem is if you're trying to break down 4x8 sheets, you do not want to do it on a job site saw. It's not safe.
No, it's not safe and it's not fun.
So I was thinking though, Bob, with that, and you tell me if this is still.
Yeah, you can do it. You can use if you don't want to buy a track saw, you can always use a straight edge and a circular saw.
Yeah. So if Home Depot will cut the things into 2 or 3 pieces for free. Like they'll give you 2 cuts for free on each piece.
I found it.
So they would be smaller at that point to work with. Is that still too big, do you think, to work with a job saw?
The disadvantage of the job site saws is you just don't have a lot of table area to support a large cut. Yeah. So
maybe this isn't it. I thought this isn't it. This is something else. I might have to give up. Or is this
well, suffice to say, we were all a little bit surprised at how well that thing actually did in the reviews, because clips historically, I should probably say more clearly.
No, I found it. This is it.
Was not like a big player in the subwoofer market. A lot of theirs is kind of like also ran stuff, but they did a good job with this last round of them.
Okay, so this is kind of like giving you a general consensus of like what each subwoofer does. And this is the frequency response of all of them. The Klipsch is the yellow. So Klipsch is right here.
And this is max output. Yeah. Who's green?
Green is
PB16.
Defiance X15. Or no, this is the PB16 Ultra.
PB16, yeah.
Yeah. But frequency response is not everything. And when you start getting into here,
right.
So this is the monolith. And they actually talk about this a little bit. This is the PB16's group delay, which gets a little wonky. Here's the paradigm.
Yeah, that's not happy.
Nope.
I haven't seen this review yet. I'll have to go check this out.
And then this is the X15. Or sorry, that's the paradigm still. Here's the Klipsch. Okay. So here's your port. That's what that is. And then this is the...
Looks like you just saw the HSU a second ago pop up there.
I don't think I was to it yet. Oh, this is the DefTech.
DefTech, yep.
Ugh. And then this is the shoe.
And none of those just want to play down low at all, though.
No. And then here's the mono price. So I would encourage anybody that's looking for a sub in this price range to take a look at this review, because Gene and James get pretty in depth with it. And I really like that they go through not just frequency response, but they talk about delay. They talk about
distortion characteristics. Yeah.
Yep. And like your RP times, all that stuff, which I think is really, really important. And it's not something that a lot of people talk about. And then here's burst. Well, let's burst, frequency response, harmonic distortion, and then your group delay, which I think is all very, very important. And James measured all of these. So
That's a good set of measurements for him.
yeah. And the clips did really, really good.
What was their conclusion? Did they rank them at the end?
I don't remember which subwoofer's right for you. There you go. So massive. If you're looking for extension, the PB16's it. The performance at all around reasonable price is the mono price and the Klipsch.
And all the more when you're getting it on sale for $900 because he's probably considering the retail price of what 15 or 16 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. So best value shoe and mono price paradigm for music and dynamic range. So the fact that Klipsch is even mentioned here and it's not just, oh, Klipsch, you don't get that reaction, I think is awesome. They've done very, very well on these subs. So good job, Klipsch. I'm proud of you. Okay. Any other good deals? I was looking at tools. I didn't really see anything that was mind-blowing.
I saw a good deal on Makita stuff. That's kind of what I try to keep. And there was a buy 2 batteries, get a tool free. And it was pretty much most of the tools, anything from a blower to a coffee maker to a chainsaw. So like $200 for a chainsaw with 2 batteries. That's from Makita. That's good pricing.
There was some good. There's always some good details on like inline skates on Black Friday. There's a shop that I buy my stuff from that has a really great Black Friday sale. It's a Thoreau shop out of Massachusetts. Specialized, the bicycle company, had some really good Black Friday deals today. I bought my wife a new e-bike this morning because they were 50% off.
So that just hurts me.
I mean, the second I saw that thing come up, I was like, add to cart, click. I picked it up it's got it ready for me at Eric's over there, just up the block.
Good for you.
That'll be fun.
What did I got a DeWalt DCD, their new hammer drill.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beast. And they had Home Depot, you can hack them where you get a tool for free. And then if you order it, you can return it. So it just gives you it breaks it into 2 transactions and then you can return part of it. So
is that the big one that you just had?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that thing is huge.
It's enormous. So it ends up being like $250 for the drill and a 8 amp hour power stack battery. And then I sold normally it's $250. With the hack, it brought it down to like $180 or $70 or something. And then I sold the battery and the rapid charger for $120. So I got this drill for like $70.
Good.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Any other cool deals?
It's probably worth mentioning because we always talk about how you can get these Behringer NX 6000D amps.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even looked, but almost always on any holiday, places like Parts Express and Musicians a Friend have like 15% off coupon.
Mm-hmm.
And it inevitably will not apply to the thing you want. But all you have to do, this little trick, is just call or chat with their customer support and say, heck, it'll even come up and say this item not eligible for the 15% off coupon. And true enough, like right here on the page, it says Black Friday, 15% off qualifying orders.
Yep.
Well, if you try to add it next 6,000, it'll tell this one's not qualified. But if you chat in or you call in, they will honor it and they'll give you 15% off. So that $450 NX 6000D will be like $385 today. And
it's pretty good.
Yeah. And you probably can do the same thing. Probably can do the same thing on Cyber Monday. But if you're really after it, this is as cheap as it will be, period. So you might as well just call in today and get it ordered.
My Home Entertainment says he got a 21-inch Kraken.
Good.
That's exciting. Did the 12-inch
Parts Express will have a coupon today too, almost certainly. Let me verify, but
they've got 11% off on their site.
11%.
Did 12%. The 12-inch JBLs go on
That's
sale?
That's retail only, though.
Did those 12-inch JBL subs go on sale? The $30 one?
I haven't. That didn't come across my purview today. Let me just look at Slick Deals because they usually pop out there on Slick Deals.
I saw a thread for them, but I don't know if they're.
It's not on AVS Forum mentioned, so I kind of doubt it because usually those things just make a thread on AVS Forum as well.
But it's through Best Buy, isn't it?
Usually, yes.
Yeah.
No. The last it does come up, but it's from 2023, so they did not run that special this year. Though,
So
although
no,
it might still happen Cyber Monday. Like, that's possible.
good. So no more subs as of right now for Brian. Not that
He's
he
still
needs
looking
any
for a few
more.
more.
I don't know.
Can you
That's
guys
sub
hear?
rate.
Can you guys hear that vacuum upstairs?
No.
Megan's okay. Cool.
No.
I'll have to mute if you hear it. Tell me.
No. Haven't heard anything. Any other deals? Trying to think if I bought anything. Did I buy anything? Bought some software for my MacBook.
I'll have to look at computer stuff tonight or this weekend. I build my sister a new computer, but other than that, I mean, that's always on sale.
There are a lot of computer sales, but man,
I was in Micro Center doing a return today, and
I'm sure they were
it wasn't as busy as I thought it was. The normal line to check out was back by build your own computer, so it
Okay.
wasn't awful.
That's not awful.
I mean,
but
it's wrapped around the store before, so it wasn't bad. I'm sure online's really pushing into stuff for them.
Yeah. Their online stuff has actually been kind of so there was when I got it was either my XPS 15 or my XPS 17. I can't remember which one it was. They had the one doorbuster super configuration at just a crazy good price. And back then they would allow you to buy the doorbusters for in-store pickup. So at midnight, I was on their website just hitting refresh, and the second it came up, I looked through their doorbusters, clicked it, add the cart, and then went and picked it up at like 1:00 in the afternoon the next day.
Terrible person.
I got a couple more deals to tell you that I forgot about as I'm looking through Slick Deals. I'm seeing them. So Massdrop has this the Sennheiser 6XX, which is equivalent of their 650 series. That's normally like $300 or something, and they're 160. So that's a great price. There's a 75-inch Toshiba TV, which is just a run-of-the-mill TV. It's not going to do anything special, but it's $400 for a 75-inch TV. That's wild. And then I saw yesterday, and I don't have it right in front of me, but if you go to Slick Deals, you'll find it. If you're retired or military service, you can get a $35, I think it might even be a 2 terabyte Samsung Pro SSD. So like that was a ridiculous deal, but you have to be retired military to do it.
I saw that deal come around a couple times. Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal.
And there's one more. Oh, another one I saw, both since the new GoPro and the new GJ Action Osmo camera are out, the old ones are going on discount. So like I think GoPro 12 and the DJ Action Osmo 4, they're both $200. So those are normally $300 and change. To get it for $200 is,
I almost bought that step ladder up from Home Depot. Up and oh dear.
Oh, you're looking at, I didn't even know I was still sharing my screen. That's hilarious.
I turned it back on. Go up. Up a little bit more. That one. That $19 one. And I saw it at Home Depot last week. And I was just like, no. Yeah. We have some Costco ones. And I like them, so we bought another one of those because I keep stealing the one out of the pantry, and my wife keeps getting mad at me because she's not as tall, and she's like, I can't reach stuff. And so we had to get another one.
That one out of your pantry scared me when I tried to use it.
It's not that bad.
I think I exceed its maximum weighted load capacity by a good margin.
It says 225 pounds. I know I do. But I think those things will hold more than they say, because I'm pretty sure ours says the same thing. And I climb up on the top even sometimes. Here's a bunch of 4K movies. Go in there and you click in there. Usually have 20 of them listed for that price.
Were you blown away by anything on this Black Friday? Because I wasn't.
Just the bicycle.
Just the bicycle. I should look at Eric's. I'm gonna look at Eric's when we get off. Probably buy.
So that like Specialized was clearancing out some of their last, their the ones that they're going to be putting out new models of. So they had some crazy good deals, and on one I'd been looking at specifically for my wife.
I mean, stuff like this. Look at this. I was just telling you about the Integra being like $600 for a 9.2.
Yeah.
This is Onkyo for $400. I mean, if you're in the market for that, that's so cheap. That's so cheap for that kind of tech that we're getting here. Here's a bidet.
I like me a bidet.
We're taking a dark turn. Let's steer out of there.
Hey.
Creatine, there's a time in my life I would have picked that up for $20, but I don't do that stuff anymore.
Which Breville was that? Scroll back up 1 second.
Okay.
Not the Pro. Okay.
Smart toaster, $180 for a toaster. We have just the kind that you like drop the toast in it.
No, it's a
back up.
toaster. It's a toaster oven. So the one above that is the Pro Air oven or whatever. That's their air fryer / toaster oven, and that thing's amazing. I cook like 70% of our meals in one of those things.
We use our air fryer an awful lot. Not exactly the same concept, but that thing uses more use than we ever would have thought.
Well, that's an air fryer also on not that model, but the one above it is also a toaster oven and air fryer. So you throw your pizzas in it, you can throw your chicken nuggets in it, you can cook everything in it.
Yeah, air fryers are almost like life-changing. So there's this 3800 for $999.
Mm-hmm.
But really the only thing you're gaining on that 3800 over like the Onkyo and Integra would be the extra subwoofer outputs. So
Any more power output out of that one versus the other ones?
yeah, but I was talking to somebody about that today. The Onkyo and the Integra have 100 watts, and this one has probably 100 and what is this, 120, 130? The
Yeah, you got to look at
like
channels.
1 dB.
Oh yeah,
It's
but I'm
not
saying
gonna
you got to look at total channels driven and
it's even just 105 for that matter.
And you got to look at channels driven or power with multiple channels driven. And you got to look at just the overall wattage of the unit. I mean, if it's a 200 watts power consumption, you're not going to get much out of it.
My browser's not behaving anymore. Here we go. Yeah, I Onkyo wouldn't scare me in that regard. Onkyo traditionally does really well with that.
Yes,
if you were talking about like a Pioneer or something, you might have to raise your eyebrow and look into it because Pioneer sometimes has like a nanny mode for their surround channels that go down like 15 watts when they're enacted, and that's not cool. But as far as I know, historically, Onkyo has not done that or been guilty of that. Here's 5 pounds of gummy bears. Hey, here's that tool I was talking about. This is good. 2 4-amp batteries from Makita, a charger, and the tool of your choice. And like I said, they got a lot of different tools in here. You can get make that bigger. You can get a lot of choices in here. And Makita's good stuff. Like that's good stuff. All right. I guess if we don't have anything more to specifically call out, we probably don't have to like just keep scrolling here. Anyone in the comments to calling out good deals they found?
Not really. Chat's been pretty quiet. MW says he wants a new CNC machine or wants a CNC machine.
Shipoko, Onefinity, and one other one are on sale today. I can't remember what the other one is. I looked at them this morning.
Is this Daewoo? Is that like a Jensen or something? Is that like the cheapest of the cheap? $80 for a 5.2? How's that possible?
Daewoo, I feel like, has been around for a long time.
Are they considered junk or good? I don't even know. Like I don't have any familiarity with them.
I couldn't tell you there. I don't have any familiarity with them either.
$80. You got to wonder.
I mean,
an empty PC case costs $80.
That is
an
true.
An empty PC case costs more than that these days.
Exactly.
That is very true.
Everything else inside it, remote.
Yeah.
Just looking at the back of it, this isn't going to be some sort of state-of-the-art electronics for sure. But $80.
Bruce says Stark has their standard subs for 2 for $1,000. Which, if you're not shooting for the moon, I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah, $500 a pop. That's a nice price.
Home Theater Denmark drops. I don't know what their currency is called. I'm going to call it Denmarkian. I know it's wrong, but I don't know.
Krunar?
Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. And he says, hit like, people. So if you find our stuff interesting or just want to follow along with Perpetual Failure, hit like. So you can never miss a day at any time that we go live. Direct says 20% off all of their stuff. From
that's not that good of a deal because they had
Stevens.
a lot better deal last year on this, didn't they? Wasn't it 50% off last year? Pretty sure it was.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Let me just. Could that have been part of just the launch of the whole going with Denon and Marantz stuff?
Yes, it very well could have been.
Yeah, because they opened that whole market on them, and now they're coming with it. Do they come with them now? Or you still have to buy the
No,
license separately?
for the Denon
You have
ranch,
to-
you just have to buy it separately.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might be making that up, but I don't think I was. I thought it was 50% off last year. I'm trying to see. Black Friday 2023. Oh,
It's
okay.
30%
Last year it
last
was
year.
30% last year, so I'm wrong. But
So
still,
not that bad.
20% is kind of sad. Oh, the streaming software stuff. We've kind of talked about that. StreamYard has a 50% off sale, which is kind of a gotcha because it's just basically going back to what the prices were less than 3 months ago, which we
Mhm.
used to use StreamYard for this podcast. Now we're using Restream. Restream has a 50% off sale. So those basically, if you use that kind of software for podcasting, it's on sale.
Home Theater Denmark says, WTF, Danish crowns, Ryan, Danish crowns. I never said that I was a smart person. Okay.
He's asking for a refund right now. You
Well, sorry.
him.
I don't know how to do that. Thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you.
So this question came up. We already talked about this, but we might have missed it for you. So which brand and model 43-inch OLED? We actually said 42-inch or 48-inch.
I wouldn't get a 43.
And I don't think they make it unless it's some sort of off-brand or something.
Well, sometimes I think they show up in monitors.
Yeah.
So
I
the
wouldn't do that.
42-inch OLED that we would recommend would be like a LG C2, C3, C4, like that type of stuff. The
Mhm.
C4 is the current generation, and you can get a C4 today for like $720 if you're in the US.
And Sony makes one, I think now too, or do they only do the 48? They had one at one point. I don't remember if
I'm
they
not sure if
still
they have a
do or not.
42. The 48, in my personal opinion, is probably too big for a monitor, but I have a friend that really loves his 48 as a monitor, so subjective preference there. The
Mhm.
48s, because they're more mainstream and there's more of them produced, that's only $600. So it's actually cheaper than the 42, but you need a big, deep desk for that. I got one of these like 1960 bomb shelter desks, and my 42 goes near the back of it. So you would need to have a pretty big desk.
It does look
use-
like Sony sells a 42, but it's not inexpensive.
And Samsung has a 42 now too, I think, as well, with
What?
their QD OLED. I saw an article on that. I think it's out now. Samsung QD OLED,
QD OLED, yep,
42
inch. It's $900 right now.
that was on sale as well somewhere for like $700 or $800. But in the brief amount of time I reviewed on it, people were saying get the LG instead. Now I don't know if that holds true across the board. Like the bigger TVs, people really like those QD OLEDs, but for the 42, they were saying get the Reddit thread I was reading was saying get the LG.
I like the LG. I think it delivers a lot for what it is. And they're typically cheaper than everything else, and they do really well. At the Value Electronics TV shootout, they scored like 0.3 points or something behind the Sony, which is, in my opinion, imperceivable unless you're really trying to scrutinize. Even then,
Yep.
I think we all use LG, right?
Yeah,
I do. Bob does.
I do.
Jonathan does, but he doesn't matter.
Or Panasonic Plasma.
Yeah, and I have Do we all have Panasonic Plasmas too?
I still do, yep.
I have a
I
Samsung Plasma that's dead.
I had
sad.
two,
Mine.
but I gave one away to a friend who wanted one. So I only
Loser.
have one Panasonic Plasma left.
The Samsung panels are the best, but the Samsung software sucks. It's just so bad.
I think like in the 65-inch, do you remember all the drama that came out when Samsung first released that QD OLED, and it was going head to head against the LG, and
The
it was
S95C?
people were thinking that it was kind of cheating because it was oversaturating the red or whatever, and it was like not quite as accurate out of the box.
I don't know.
I don't remember all the drama in it either, but I just remember there being a lot of drama. And Tim Stitch one of our buddies here in Kansas City, he has an LG 65 and a Samsung 65, that same generation. And we looked at them side by side, and to my eye, I would prefer the Samsung in that little matchup. Now,
how was the motion?
Said, that was years ago. That was like several years ago. So I don't know if that holds true now.
I've traditionally not liked the motion on Samsung, but I haven't looked at one in years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and then, like I said, that little Reddit thread was saying just get the LG between the smaller Samsung and the LG.
Everything's come so far in the last 5 years that it's crazy.
I don't know what the color volume difference is. I would encourage people to just go look at the results from the Value Electronics shootout that happened earlier this year and see what they say. I mean, I've just had good luck with my LGs. I haven't had one fail. I've never had a dead pixel. I'll probably have one tomorrow now, and it's just been they've been rock solid.
And your HDMI cable is going to catch fire.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, if you try to do any compression sweeps in your subs, it's probably going to fall off the fireplace.
Probably. Just all of them at the same time just fall off their brackets onto the floor. That would be nice.
That's funny.
Okay.
Somebody was saying they got a $3,500 LS 12,000 today, but I don't know
Where's that?
It was at some electronics store on the East Coast, if I remember right, and they had like a $1,500 Black Friday special. So it's not like that was a day only, and it was a local store, I think.
Good for you.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, it's a nice savings for retail.
Was it new?
Dang,
good for you.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's in the owner's thread, the LS 12,000 owner's thread.
Bruce is calling you out. He's asking why you don't just get TVs off Alibaba. He did get a few with his couch.
Yeah, my couches are from Alibaba.
Should we jump into questions? You guys want to talk about the weekend, last weekend, not the live stream?
Yeah, the Mad VR Experience Expo, the open house. That was fun.
Whatever you guys want to call it.
It was fun. How many people did you get a full head count?
I think there were like 40 that came through. So it was a good turnout. I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Got a little crazy with people yelling about something that was on the wall, but we won't get into that. I had fun. Everything worked. Nothing broke, which was shocking to me. Every time you do one of these get-togethers, something doesn't work. Something decides to melt, break, fall off, just refuse to work in its mysterious wisdom. But everything worked, which I was shocked about. Pizza
Everyone I saw out
arrived
there
on
had
time.
massive smiles on their face after leaving the room.
Yeah. So I had fun.
Your Imagine Dragons track in there with the concert. I happened to just kind of walk in, and I actually have this on the live stream where I just kind of walked in with the camera. That was so fun, standing right in front of that 50. And what's right to the side of the 50 behind the acoustic? Is that 32?
There's 21s.
Or 21s. Are they stacked back there or just a single?
Just a single.
I was
Well,
kinda-
there's one on each side,
side
and
of
then
the
on
tw-
top
out of
of
the
each
50?
one of those is a 12, the rear surrounds.
So I'm standing kind of in front of the 50 and kind of in front of the 21, and like as close proximity as you can be. And that bass, they're just going to town on the bass drums and everything. That was so good, man. I just loved it. That should be like a position that you have in your own theater. Like stand here with a little X on the floor, and this be all smiles.
Let the 50 touch you inappropriately.
What was that track we listened to later on that I don't remember if it was it I Am Iron Man or the one before it that had that 50 hertz like
Long
50 or
hold.
63 hertz just continuously thumping
So
thing.
that is it's Iron Man, but let me find out who does that or who made that. Hold on, I'll find.
I mean, I could feel my ribs shaking during that one.
Yeah, that is. Where is that? It's here somewhere. I was shocked at how many people talked about the projector. I thought it was going to be all about sound and stuff, but a good portion of people said that the projector was the star of the show, which was, I don't know.
Well, when you see Godzilla in there,
stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot.
I'm sure Jonathan, that revigorated Jonathan's love for Godzilla.
I have to watch that movie. I've still never seen it.
I haven't either.
How can you hate it and not see it?
Because the ones I've seen are so bad.
Did you watch Minus Zero?
I've heard it's good, and I'm waiting for Tim to get his theater finished. That's been my...
It's great.
Jonathan's not going to watch it out of principle. Where is that? Iron Man by Yuki.
Okay.
And it's got the guy is in like a Walmart Iron Man costume for the cover art of this track on Tidal. It starts off normal enough, and then when you get into the bridge, it just is this 40 or 50 hertz hammer that happens, and they sustain it, and it pressurizes the room. I
I
mean, if
wouldn't
you're
end up
not
with
ready
that.
for it, it is.
And that's all the 21s working there.
Yeah, it's not the infrasonics. That's just the 21s, and
They hit hard.
you can feel it on your chest.
What? Tell me the name of it. Let me look it up because I want to.
Iron Man by Yuki.
Ukey. Yuki. How do you spell it?
Yookie.
That would be not how I would guess to spell that.
Well, that's how they spelled it. Okay, so maybe they're right and you're wrong.
Probably. I've been wrong
Probably.
about a lot of things, evidently.
Is that on like Apple, or do you have to? I see it
It's
on
on-
SoundCloud.
It's on Tidal.
Okay, I'll have to check it out after podcast.
So it is also on Spotify. So that was a big hit with people. Well, nobody saw that one until we did it at the end because we weren't doing music during the normal demos. So the demo clip or script, I can tell you what that was.
And how cool was it while you're bringing that up that your lights were interacting between the clips and stuff? You had some automation, like bringing up the lights a little bit. That was cool.
It worked. That's just all I have to say is everything was working. It wasn't just deciding not to. So yeah, what Jonathan's saying is every time the clip would stop or a clip would stop, the lights would come up. And then when the next clip would start, the lights would go down. So, and then if you pause it, the lights will come up like an intermission so you can see. And then as soon as you press play, the lights will go down. So I'm not having to do any of that. It's just something that's in the control of the room.
And it's like RGB lighting, so it's not just like boring white lights. You got some color splashes in there.
Yeah, I think it's set right now to red, and there's some green and blue on the ceiling for the Mad VR colors. But the script was A Star is Born, the Alibi track that most people don't play. Most people play Shallow. John Wick 3, the Assault on the Continental, and then A Quiet Place, Red Light Emergency. Then there was Queen, We Will Rock You, followed by somewhere in there, Godzilla.
You had Fury in there too.
Fury was not in there that day.
Oh, wasn't?
No, I should have put it in there, but it wasn't.
Okay.
And then it was Dead Mouse's Strobe, which I think looking back was a little too long. And then Imagine Dragons closed it out, was the demo script. So lots of music. It was not all just hammer, hit you in the face, bass, brain melting, shattering levels. Because you hear one of those, especially at the beginning, and you're just ruined for the rest of the demo. Your ears have all compressed, and there's just no recovering from that. So that was the script. It was nice because I could just push play and let it run, and I didn't have to be in there, which I actually really liked. Because I like seeing all of that, but watching it 15 times during a day is not the funnest thing ever. So yeah, that all went well. Did you guys enjoy yourself?
I
Absolutely.
did. I wish I would have had a dedicated session to it. I just snuck in one of the sessions, and I could have. I just we had distractions.
Yeah.
So I could have, but the half session I was in, I really enjoyed.
Good. Glad you enjoyed it.
It sounded wonderful. Like you've done a really good job of calibrating it, and the switching function. At one point, you came in and showed us that, like when it was playing a song and you were switching between the two stacks of equipment, the Trinoff and the Storm, and showing that it can be pretty transparent. That was pretty remarkable.
It happens very, very fast. So fast that if you're doing it in music, you can notice because there's a little bit of a delay in Rune going back and forth. So you can hear it happen. You don't really know I didn't tell you what it was doing. Maybe you thought it was just a hiccup.
I thought it was just like a buffering glitch or something.
So that's what that is. If it's in a movie, you don't notice unless you can pick up on the change. And really what people pick up on, if there is a difference, is the bass. Which now, MW actually mentioned this earlier, Trinov just released an update today, and they have added changes to post-equalization, or post-optimization. So they've actually modified how their optimizer deals with levels, I think is how I understand it. And supposedly it makes things a little bit punchier. So maybe a little bit tighter. I have to talk to them more about what exactly they changed. I was in a webinar today and they didn't get too far into the weeds on it, but I'm excited. the Trinov's updated. I haven't had a chance to mess with it yet. For anybody that doesn't know, if you have a Trinov and you do this update, I asked them in the webinar, the change defaults to on. So as soon as you play something back, you're going to get that change. I think after you've loaded that calibration for the first time, is my understanding. It will default to on. Yeah. Should we get into questions? Unless you
I'm
guys
not
have
caught up
anything
on
else.
questions. I know you've been kind of starring them. I'm still.
I've been trying to. I don't think there's anything else that I've missed. I think I got them all.
MW's like very sure that QD OLED is the way to go.
It sucks.
For the Samsung for the 42. I don't know. I can't confront you on that, MW. I haven't done any in-depth research, but I would look at RTING or RTINGS and see what they say about it. Also, MW, I don't know if there's any of this kind of nonsense that you have to do with the service menu on the Samsung, but with LG OLEDs, you can buy a remote that's a service menu remote off eBay for like $7 and get into the factory service menu and disable some of the things that are not great for computer use for the LG OLED. Supposedly avoid your warranty. From what I read, nobody ever really gets banged on that. Like if they have to still submit it, they don't actually void the warranty. It's just a threat. But you can disable the logo dimming. So LG OLEDs, if you have like a CNN logo, for instance, or any kind of Fox logo or something that's just up there permanently, and games will do this, it will dim that spot of the screen over time. If there's a static element on the screen, you can disable that because you're not, in most cases, you're just it's not gonna matter. You're not gonna play that game long enough for that to matter. So like I did that 2 years ago or whatever, when I put my LG OLED in use, and I've had no trouble with it. I have no burn-in at all. And then the other thing is, like, if you have a high HDR, like a brighter APL screen where there's a lot of white, and the LG OLED by default, unless you turn it off in the menu, it will just tick down in brightness very slowly, to where if it's a static bright screen, it'll just reduce it to it's almost like dim over the course of time. And you can disable that. And there's no way to get to it with the regular remote. Like those are built into the factory service menu. So keep that in mind. I don't know if Samsung does stuff like that, but on LG, there's a quick, like, get out of jail free. You just buy that $7 remote, you go into the menu and you turn it off.
So with you guys using those as your computer monitors, have you ever moved icons out of the way and seen actually residual burn-in?
Never.
From that?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
No,
Listen,
and
I've got an OLED for my flight sim rig. My son uses one for gaming. I've got two for my monitors. I have never seen burn-in.
I know the plasmas used to burn in. I mean, I had
the Panasonic burns in.
I had the Call of Duty like HUD locked into one of those things for years. It eventually faded. I mean, I still have an old LCD monitor from college that I finally threw away that still had the EverQuest UI burnt into it. It just never went away. But yeah, I mean, that's really good to know on those ones.
Yeah, they have a couple little things that are part of the menu, and you'd have to physically turn them off to make them go away. But one is like a pixel shift, and I've never, ever, not once noticed it. But at some predetermined time, if there's a static element, it'll shift the whole screen like a pixel. And so it helps eliminate burn-in that way. And then there's like a cleanup process that happens when you turn it off every so often, that it goes through and does some sort of kind of level matching for all the pixel wear.
Yeah, the Panasonics had that on their plasmas. They had that kind of wipe screen function where it would bring the white bars across and then rotate colors through that. It never really did much. I was supposed to do something, but
so MW says that the Samsungs or the Sonys use Samsung panels. Do they? I trust MW.
I didn't know that.
Really, I think
maybe it's that particular TV.
If we trust MW and then MW is wrong, we can blame him.
Are we wrong in that case? Extrapolate to
us. So somebody brought up a good question that I think we should address before we get to the other people's questions. Did anybody buy any movies? Because I did.
Yeah, I mean, I already told that they must have just joined, but I bought these two. And I bought them.
Oh,
the Black Friday sales were a couple days early at Amazon, so I'd already bought a couple of them.
But what'd you buy on the Amazon sales?
That batteries not included.
Dune 2.
Oh, that's right.
Dune 2. Batteries not includes $10 now, so I don't know if it went back up or that's all it was.
Oh, that stinks because it was a 6.
I'm still probably going to have to buy it for $10. So I tried to watch it with my kids the other night, and I didn't have it anywhere.
So
Yeah.
I bought many. The Kaleidoscape sales got me good.
Oh,
It was
and that button push is really easy to do.
oh, it's really easy. Checking that checkbox and be like, build bundle, and just going. I got Rollerball.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
The Silent Hour, the 4K remake of Twister. Not remake, but remaster.
Mm-hmm.
Uncharted, The Boys in the Boat, which is about like a rowing team. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's terrible. That one's terrible. I'm just
It's,
gonna say that right away.
you're terrible.
What's that movie about?
That movie's terrible.
Don't ruin this for me, Jonathan. Let me go in unknowing. God.
It's too weird for me.
Your
I can't
face
follow
is
it.
terrible. Go away.
Sometimes the terrible movies are the best ones to enjoy.
All right, you come back next week and tell me what you think.
I
I'll be
will.
Curious.
I won't have watched it. The Fablemans, The Iron Claw, which is like a boxing movie, the new Beetlejuice movie, Challengers, If,
Holy
Maxine,
smokes. You tripled your library.
No. And then some stuff for the kids, Jumanji, the first new one with The Rock, Sing 2. And then last week when they started doing some of the sales, I got Alien Romulus, Bad Boys, Ride or Die, Civil War, Napoleon, Transformers 1, The Wild Robot, and then the last one was Bad Boys for Life.
Wow.
The first new Jumanji has some surprisingly inappropriate parts for little kids.
They all do.
The Robin Williams ones was a little scary, but there was nothing that kind of got a little weird.
I think the older movies are actually more inappropriate than the newer ones. Remember, not that this was made for kids, but Ghostbusters, when they're in the fire station or their station and the ghost comes in and starts undoing their belts, and it's like,
yes. There was a
long
scene in
enough. I
the
don't remember that.
new Jumanji where they were discussing the changes in their anatomy because of the personas they were in.
oh yeah.
Up on that.
Oh well. I'm ready for Godzilla -1 and Shin Godzilla to hit Kaleidoscape. They haven't come out yet. Those are some of the movies the studios they can't get. Which
Now,
is
speaking of movies that you've ordered and not watched, did you ever watch Moon?
no.
You got to watch that. That's a
Okay,
great movie.
fine. I will try and watch it tonight or this weekend.
Are you saying
try and watch-
moon like MOON?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's not Moonfall. Moon?
No, Moon. MOON.
Heard of that one.
It's
So
a
Brian-
sci-fi movie.
Brian says that Goonies also has a plethora of inappropriateness going
Yes.
on, which it does.
I remember that.
A lot of movies do. I think our parents just didn't care. Mine didn't, at least.
I mean, it was the 80s. You wanted to go somewhere, you just got in your bike and did it.
Yeah,
That's true.
That is true. Okay.
You got a super chat in there.
Yes. Christian Kanzichi. I think I got that right. Hey guys, how bad would I be screwing myself over if I got an Arendal 1723 TV 2V dual ported and then got a 2S for near field dual sealed? I think you could do that.
The 1723 is like a bookshelf, large bookshelf speaker. I'm not sure that's the right word, but it's not a tower. It's just a giant bookshelf speaker. But with the 2S, is that just a sealed sub?
I
I'm not
thought
sure.
the 1723 was they had that
The
same
ones that
naming.
the ones
which
I
was-
was using was a giant three-way or a giant.
1723 is a series.
Yeah, and that's probably a sub.
So the 2S is a subwoofer. That's correct. It's a 13.8-inch driver, 1200 watt amp. Audioholics gives it 4.5 stars.
Yeah, it's a sub. The 2V is a sub as well.
So
So
the
he's talking about mixing ported and sealed.
1723 2V. Let me look that one up. 1723 2V. So that one is a 13.8 woofer, 1200 watt amp. Also, that one gets full 5 stars across the board at Audioholics. What's the port tune on that one?
This is the sub that we had at M-Wave, though, isn't it?
The 2V was?
in 23? We had
I
an
don't
Arundel.
know. I don't remember that.
We had something there. 1723 subwoofers. Maybe maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was like a 1S or a 1V or something. It was something. Just gonna throw it and broaden that out there. We had something.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it has
1S1V.
3 different EQ curves, and the top, or the one that has the most output, is flat to 18 hertz, 19 hertz, 20 hertz, in that realm on the 2V.
But the thing to be careful about, like you noticed with the bookshelves, is it may be flat at a certain output, but when is it going to compress?
Ooh,
And-
and we got to show this. We got to talk about that just for that exact purpose. Stand
And they're
by.
only 13. They're only, what, 13-inch drivers in those Arundel subs,
Stand
right?
by.
14?
13, 12.8.
It's like I read your mind.
So look at this. This is exactly what Ryan's talking about, what we've talked about on the podcast before. So here's your frequency response if you're not under load, 90 dB.
That's pretty good. That
It's
looks
nice and
really
flat.
good.
And then you go down here to where you're doing your compression sweeps, and now all of a sudden you're compressing at 50 hertz up here. That's not atypical for like sealed subs to start losing, their lower end.
No,
Of course.
it's not atypical. And that's not us saying it's bad for a 13-inch sub. It's just these are the things that you need to be aware of
Mhm.
that you're typically not going to see a manufacturer provide.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a pretty steep roll off, really, at 50 hertz.
Well, it's 115 dB, though. I mean,
It's loud. Yep, no doubt. But down here at 20 hertz, you're down 12 dB.
Well, let's
13
compare
dB?
it. Hold on. So that's a 13. So that needs to be compared to, let's do like SVS. So that would be is this sealed?
It's two 12-inch drivers, it looks like. And we're kind of speaking out of turn because we don't know this product. We're looking it up on the fly, just to be clear.
No, this is all opinion.
Yeah.
We're just judging and providing our opinion based on these measurements from what we see.
It looks like it's dual opposed here. Two drivers inside a cabinet, kind of like the old submersive style from Seaton, or the what was the
So
other one?
SB13 has a very similar response.
Audioholics. You got your screen pulled up?
Yeah.
I'll let you share.
Martin Logan did the Balance Force stuff forever.
Boop. Hello. So this is the SB13 Ultra.
Rolling
It's a
off
very
pretty good.
similar plot.
It looks almost identical. So it's not us saying it's a bad sub. It's just do not go into that thinking you're going to be flat down to whatever with the frequency response. In this case, we're looking at your frequency response was easier to read for people.
Yeah, and very specifically, we've talked about it's as you increase the volume, as you increase the SPL requirement, your subwoofer will start to basically ignore the DSP that you applied, the EQ that you applied. So your flat response that you saw down there with the lower frequencies is kind of gone, and it goes back to more of a natural without EQ or without DSP, like it would do naturally in the box.
Yeah, but
So
I think his question was more about running vented subs with sealed near fields.
yeah, we definitely went off the reservation.
We did, but that's because we want to make sure that people are buying with all of the information that they need to know, and that you don't. It's marketing. You're getting hit with marketing. They're going to show you the frequency response, and it goes back to, remember Cedia saying that this subwoofer was down to 7 hertz or 8 hertz or whatever. Yeah, it probably is at X volume, whatever they took the frequency response at. But if you go up, it's going to compress, and that volume may be insignificant. So just take everything with a grain of salt. Question everything.
I'm not even sure this is vented. Like, we need to question that.
It says the 2V is the.
I mean, the V would, I
would assume it is, but
sound like vented, but it's a dual opposed boxes. Those aren't usually vented. I mean, it's
Look at the sub.
more often that would be sealed.
Maybe they mean 2 version instead of version 2.
2V. It's big. It's ported. It says it's ported on their website.
Where's the
the
port?
port?
Maybe underneath. It's
looks like
literally in the
flat on
first sentence of
floor.
or the second sentence of their description of this.
Oh, it's here. If you look at tune your
it's on the
power,
back.
it's on the back bottom. It's there.
Yeah.
Just in an atypical location.
It's right
Like
underneath the
your
plate
screen.
amp.
Yeah.
Oh. Dude, I'm looking at. Oh, okay, I see it. This
It's
picture
down
shows it.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
If you go all the way down to the bottom, you can see the tech specs or the line drawings of it, and you can see the port on that.
Yeah, it's right here.
So in answer to his very question specifically,
Does it list port tune right there?
you probably should not mix ported and sealed unless you're willing to get out measurement equipment and see what it's doing, because it can potentially cause a lot of phase interactions throughout the base frequency range, not just around port tune, but above as well. So if you know REW or you're willing to learn it, or you have an Omni mic and you're willing to learn it, then you can integrate it. Like, yes, they can be mixed. It's not always the easy button. So for that reason, as a general recommendation, sometimes it's easier just to stick with one alignment or the other. So that would be where I
To
would.
be fair, they are providing a CEA 2010, which is nice.
Yeah.
I like that. It doesn't say how they measured. Well, it says 1 meter, but it doesn't say, like, was it anechoic? Was it, how did they do it?
Ground
So
plane or
this is misleading. I never like it when manufacturers do this. Like, provide real SPL. This is just marketing.
Hey, that's much more than you get from anyone else.
It is,
From
and I
most
applaud
other-
them for
From
doing
very
that. Like,
few other people, yeah.
this is great. So Arundel's doing it. They're being objective, which I do appreciate. I just wish they took it another step and gave you more data aside from just the CE 2010. That would
When you're done with that screen, let me have the screen share back because I got something else to show you.
Okay.
So this we've talked about before as well. Here's database PB13 Ultra, and this is long-term sweeps. So it doesn't have the same response as what we saw on that Arundel.
But that's the PB.
Right. What you were showing with SVS was a sealed box, right?
Yes, I'm just making sure that people, that one we looked at on Audioholics was an SB, so it was sealed. This is ported.
SVS 2-meter GP. Well, this one's more at 40 hertz going down.
So it's
but that's
lower.
sealed. No, that's sealed. So we were at the ported up here. Here's 20 hertz ported. That was the other reason we were thinking that was sealed, because the response looked more like a sealed box when it was doing its compression sweeps. I mean, this is a ported box. You can see on this second to highest one where it really started compressing on the highest one, that's still pretty flat. And so is that, frankly. You're losing about 7.
Well, you're sure that the Arundel that you looked at on Audioholics was ported?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you guys were saying. I don't know.
Was it the 2V or the
was it the 2V?
Yeah.
That's the 2V?
Yeah, this is the 2V. Let me scroll up the top. This is the 2V review.
It is the 2V. Yeah. Maybe it has something to do with the dual opposed and how that behaves.
And you guys were saying there's a sub port down there. I didn't see it here, but as you scroll down, one of these pictures does show it. This picture shows it right here. Here's your port.
Does it mention anywhere that he plugged the ports? Can you search for the word plugged?
You have to stick towels in that.
Well, I don't. Maybe they come with a bung or something.
Oh, comes with a port plug. And for a sealed operating mode.
I wonder if that's how the compression testing showing it. Because that would be more of a sealed response than ported. You would think.
Are there 2 different frequency responses up there? You can scroll past that.
Output sweep. It doesn't say if it's ported or sealed in that response.
It doesn't. Yeah, I mean, in order to just answer his question and not get lost in this, because I would want to do a little bit more thorough research before we really get talking about this so strong. But unless you're capable and willing, and it's not hard, but unless you're capable and willing to like do your frequency response measurements and see what you're actually getting, I wouldn't mix ported and sealed, because you could be affecting frequencies that are up in the more higher upper bass levels or even above. Like there's basically harmonics that kind of happen octave after octave, and you can cause issues all the way up to like 500 hertz or something by mixing those if they're not integrating properly.
So MW is saying add rhythmic Well, Rhythmic doesn't have the same, at least on database, they don't have the same sizes. The smallest they go is 15 on Audioholics, so you can't add them. That wouldn't be a fair comparison, I don't think.
If you read through that article on Audioholics, they mentions port resonances, so I'm assuming that was done with ports open.
Okay.
Not massive ones, but just it noted a little bumps there.
I'm gonna, Bruce, I'm sure you're not the only one. So back to his question: is he okay mixing?
That depends on his technical level. I would say no, unless he's willing to learn OmniMic or REW or knows them already.
Even though it's near field, and
I would say no,
standard?
because it can affect. I mean, it can affect more than just like people think. Well, only mess up the like frequencies exchanges between the 20 hertz and below type thing. It's not that. It will.
Yeah.
It will affect the bass higher than that. You'll have big dips that will
Well,
come up.
because you're also doing that. I mean, it's
'Cause
not just a
you have
hard
phase
roll
issues.
off.
Phase issues.
You're creating
You're coming
phase.
in and you're
issue.
creating phase problems. And remember, a crossover is not just one sub here, and they go boop, and they just fall into each other like that, and then the next one takes over. They're coming into each other and crossing. So as they're playing into each other, you're just going to screw up phase throughout the entire response that they're interacting.
You can absolutely mix it.
You can.
You have to know how to do it, and you have to set the right HPF. And the built-in amplifier on that ported sub might not have the right HPF in order to integrate. Actually, what you could do is probably reach out to Arndale and ask them if their subs play nice together. Because since it's the same company, they might have already considered this. So, like, there's a thread on AVS forum that Carp made where he was talking about why he was having trouble integrating ported and sealed. And we're talking about. Like, it was creating phase issues throughout the entire, like, up to like 500 hertz. He was having these big dips when he tried to integrate them. Come to find out, LTDO2, who's really savvy on the forums, his name's John, he was talking about how you have to select the correct HPF. I don't remember without looking at that old thread, whether it's a Butterworth, like 12 dB per octave or 18 dB per octave. I don't remember. But you have to select the correct HPF, the right order HPF, in order to have those things play nicely. And if you don't have that right HPF selected, or you don't have the option to select which HPF you need to use on the ported, you're going to have phase issues.
Christian says he has smart and he's a live sound engineer. You can figure it out then.
Okay.
It's a pain, and you may end up losing your hair like me. That's what caused me to lose all my hair integrating sealed imported subs. No, I'm kidding. But it'll work. It can work. Is it necessarily ideal even if you get it to work? No. But you can make something of it. The question is why wouldn't you just do the same subs everywhere? Why switch to sealed?
Well, if you want to put near fields behind the couch, they're probably a lot bigger. It might have space limitations.
Well, and the driver would be better to face him, and you get better feel down low with sealed. All kinds of reasons for sealed near field.
Especially since those other ones are dual pose.
Yeah, but if it comes with a
couch,
if it comes with a plug, if you can deal with the size, just buy more of the ported ones and then plug them all.
Except for those ported ones have a driver on both sides, so
yeah,
that's not perfect either.
Well, I guess that's fair. You can use Smart. Yeah, Smart will absolutely be able to show you what's going on.
I'm going to find it. I'll put it in chat when I find it. There's a link that talks about this, exactly what I was talking about with selecting the right HPF, and that'll put you on the right foot forward. It'll take me a second to find it. So go ahead and move on, and I'll put it in chat when I find it.
Okay. If you guys have any questions, keep them coming. We don't have a too terrible number to go through. So if you got any questions, put them in chat, and we will get to them and give you our opinion on what we think you should do. Tiki time.
So here, this is it. I found it. I'm gonna put it in chat right now. You want a 12 dB Butterworth filter is what you want on the ported sub, and that will get you good integration as long as your time alignment's otherwise good. So that's going in chat. Okay, next.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the super chat, by the way, on that.
Yep. Thank you very much. Always appreciated. Never required. Tiki Time says, what are your thoughts on the BenQ W5800? The reviews I've seen are better than the Epson LS12000.
You see me? Move on. I'll tell why later. I think this is a trap.
I know why, and I'm not
I-
going to get into that.
I think it's a trap, and I'm not going
Yeah,
to do that either.
I don't want to get into that. So there's drama associated with this, and I'm not going to touch this right now. You can PM us.
No, I don't want any drama in my PMs.
You don't want any drama in your PMs either? Okay. So I guess we're not answering that question. Sorry, Tiki Time.
If it's innocent, we apologize, but
Yeah.
we are not. We're tired of it.
Yeah. Arnold Olervida. Sorry if I butchered your last name. Didn't know you played pool. He's talking about me, if I remember right from the question. Is that a 9-foot diamond table? I think from your video, your streaming video, because you can't see it in this video. Yes, it is a 9-foot diamond with Simonis blue. I suck. It's just I try to get things that if I ever need to get rid of, I'm not just going to get raked over the coals. And diamond seemed like it commanded the best resale value. Where if I ever was going to resell it, I was going to be able to get the majority of what I had in it out because people want them. And evidently Diamond cannot make them fast enough because we had to wait for a year to get this table. So we like it. It's pretty. My 6-year-old loves playing pool. I suck at it, but it's fun to play. MW, this is the Trinov update. We already talked about that. Bob, this one's for you. MW asks again, Bob, what do you think of the Paradigm Personas?
I've had them for 6 years now, whenever they first came out. I got them right when they came out. I've always really liked them. I have the 3Fs, the 3F to the 7 to the 9F line uses the same tweeter and mid-range. So I got 3s with subs, which is cheaper than anything else up the line. If you're going to use them on their own, you have some disadvantage on it, but I really like them as a speaker. I'm not going to keep using them just because they don't have the output. I'm going to go to something different for the theater space, but I mean, for music, they're great. I really enjoy them.
Good question. Drop Zone 7 asks, I just installed a Strato V in my system. I'm sort of surprised at how bad the UI looks and how soft the images is compared to my cheap media player. Soft the images. Are you talking about the UI or soft the images overall? Because it shouldn't be soft for the content. It should be reference level. The UI looks bad because if I remember correctly, it is a lower resolutioned and then upscaled UI. They're working on this and constantly through updates making it better. It has already gotten better, so just be aware that it's hopefully moving in the correct direction. But if you can enlighten us on what you mean by images soft in compared to your cheap media player, I'd be interested. Have you done any A/B comparisons?
Does it do any sort of scaling or anything like that, or is it just a standard kaleidoscope?
That would be no. The kaleidoscopes don't.
Okay.
Outside of the menu. Tito asked, by the way, thank you guys for the live on that one projector. Help me out with all the hype. You're welcome. I won't say anything more about that one. STE Kelly, I spent $20K on my 15 by 10 foot room, 83-inch OLED, X6300, 744 Q acoustics, prime elevations, Q acoustic subs, mini DSP. That's a lot for 20 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with, yeah, you did good. Glad you enjoy it. That's the important part. No matter how much you spend, as long as you enjoy it, that's the important thing. Miguel Munez, guys, thanks for answering my question last week about the clipping on my Stereo Integrity 24, clipping with the crown. I lowered the dB on the 3800 and haven't noticed any clipping.
Nice.
Miguel.
Jonathan will expect his tip in the mail.
No, I'm glad we were able to help.
We had someone else had the same question about clipping an amp like that at the get together.
Did they?
Was that a conversation at the end of the night?
No, it was right at the beginning of the morning. I don't know if Jonathan, if you were there yet.
I don't remember hearing that. So
yeah, I was talking with someone else about the exact same issue.
Very good.
Don't go overboard on the gain on either of them.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to create problems for yourself. Arad says, Jonathan, did you ever decide how you felt about 4 versus 6 Atmos channels?
Yeah, I did, and it's in my room with my ceiling height and my placement. I like 4 better, and I've talked about it in several podcasts, so I'm gonna make this very brief to just explain. But do you see how I still have 6 speakers up there. So there's the front 2, there's the mid 2, and there's the back 2. With current content with mixers, a lot of content is 9.1.2.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you only have content coming out of the 2, like music and stuff like that, some movies, it's only coming out of this middle row. That middle row means that it's behind my front row, and this is my main listening position in the center here.
Yep.
With current 9.1.6 receivers, like what my AV10 is, if something only has 2 channels, it comes out there. If something has 4 channels, it comes out. I think it's still here, right? And if it has 6 channels, it comes out here. But if you have something that's 2 channels and you only have 4 speakers configured as the source, then it mixes. Like, let's say these didn't exist, and I just had 4 ceiling speakers, and they're staged over my center row. If something's 9.1.2 content, it comes out mixed out of these 2, blended out of these 2. So you get a stereo image down to my seat, and you get a nice ceiling space instead of behind you. The other thing is with true 9.1.6 content, look how far back this is from my main listening row. And then you got the whole situation with like the seats being this close to the ceiling. You're dealing with that being too loud. By the time you make it loud enough to hear up here, it's just blowing these people out. So in my room, with my ceiling height, with my seating arrangement, 4 speakers works noticeably better.
Which ones are you using right now?
I'm using these 2, and these are just cosmetic up here right now because I haven't taken them down. I may try mixing this in to get the same exact signal as this and still just use a 9.1.4 setup and make this get the same signal, but just turn it way down. So it's just kind of like it's getting this, but it's turned down to only this seat can hear it, and it kind of gives them a little more fill.
So you're using the front 2 rows, or you're using the front and the rear row?
For the ceiling speakers, I use the 4 here. So there's 1 here, 1 here.
He uses the front 2.
Sorry, I've been describing this the whole time with my mouse moving. You guys can't see it.
We can't see your mouse move, yeah. So you're using the front, the ones
Jonathan's the type of guy that'll talk with his hands when he doesn't have a camera.
You're using the ones that flank your main listening position.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
The ones that are right above my head here, and here.
Right. That'll give
you. There you go.
That would be the ones I would use too. That would give you a great presentation.
Yes. Yeah, it mixes it real nicely overhead. Anyway, sorry, we talked about that in another podcast, so I didn't want to belabor the point, but.
Charlie B, I have a 60 hertz Knoll in my room, 218 ported, subs in front, each side of the room. Not able to EQ, so must be in my room. No room up front to move subs. Should I add a third identical sub in the rear? Will it help? I'm betting you're sitting right in the middle of a Knoll.
Mm-hmm.
You need to look at, there's some tools online to be able to visualize this, wavelengths for certain frequencies. And I bet at that frequency, your seats are in the Knoll from where your subs are, where the waveform goes through. Either on the pass-through or the returning wave, and it's just nullifying everything.
You can look at that at AMROC, and you can look at that in the room mode analyzer in REW.
So what I would try and do is stand up or crouch wherever your ears would normal listening level, height-wise, and move forward and move back and see if you get that Knoll to go away. Are you able to move your seating position? That may be the easiest thing for you to be able to do. Rear sub could potentially help, but the better thing is to move the seats. It's free. Mm-hmm. See if you can do that first.
Yeah, we did that over at a guy named, here in Blue Springs, one of the new guys had asked for us to come over and look at his system. We measured OmniMic. There was a giant Knoll where his couch happened to be. Move forward 2 foot, there's no Knoll. And he had a giant room, so he had plenty of room. We were like, let's move the couch forward 2 feet. Out of the Knoll, sounded great. Good frequency response across the seats this way. Same sort of deal. And in answer to a specific question, getting the extra sub probably will help as long as you time align it, because it's going to have a different Knoll. And the whole point of having multiple subs is they kind of balance each other out. So where one has a Knoll, the other doesn't. So if you put it all in the same plane in the room, it's probably not going to fix it. But if you put it at a different distance from your main listening position, it probably will help. Probably get rid of the problem.
It'll help, but moving the couch is potentially free.
Yes.
Hopefully he can do it.
And we've warned about this before too. If you just get another sub and you don't time align it and you just daisy chain it from what's there, you're going to have less output than you have now and
Gonna
probably
get worse.
Yeah.
To make sure you have either multiple outputs from your processor or from your receiver, or get a
Mini DSP or
DSP.
something to time align it.
Did you
And
guys
then-
pick up any? Oh, go ahead.
Well, the other thing
We
with
got
that
that one a
is
few
that you have
times.
to have something to measure it in order to do that.
Correct.
You're not going to be able to do that by ear. Not easily anyway.
Did we pick up any movies? We already went over that. Bruce Barnes, the man with so many questions.
I think
do you-
I might pause here for a second. I was going to watch a movie with my family, so I'm gonna, if it's okay, I'm gonna
We
drop
got
and let you guys answer.
2 left after this one. Can you hang
Okay.
out for like 3 minutes?
Sure.
We'll get through them. Bruce Barnes says, how do you know whether you want sound absorbing or versus diffusion?
You need to measure your room.
You need to measure the room, but it also depends on your speakers. So you need to look at the sound power for your speakers and identify what the reflection points are going to be like. If the sound power is very similar to your directive sound coming out of the speaker, like the main wave, it's that meaning that your first reflection is going to be very similar in sound characteristically to the main wave coming out of the speaker. You're probably going to want diffusion if in that particular position. If it differs quite a bit, if the sound power is different from the main wave from your first reflection, absorb it, because the reflection as it comes off the wall and hits your ears when the main wave does, our brains are really good about hearing things that are different and trying to figure out the difference. And we're going to try and figure out the difference, and it's going to sound bad and it's going to create distortion. So it really depends on what you're trying to do with the room. If you want things to get wider or more diffuse, use diffusion. If you want things to go away and get tighter, use absorption. If you're trying to get rid of certain frequencies, use absorption. But you need to measure and play with things. You guys have anything else to add?
I say experiment. That's the best way to learn
Yeah.
what you like. Yeah, because I mean we've talked about that before too. If you asked 10 different acousticians, you'll
They'll
get
tell you all to buy a lot of
design.
their product.
Yeah, you'll get a different design from each of them. So there's
Didn't you guys know
definitely
I'm-
differences. They sound different, but you have to figure out what you like.
Didn't you guys know I'm now selling a line of acoustic panels?
You need this one.
This diffuser for the first reflection point.
Everyone in every room needs this diffuser for the same reflection.
Paul Travisano asks, the measurements on the Ascendo 10s didn't look amazing, but you guys recommend them on your 20K build. How do they sound? They don't look amazing because you're used to seeing bookshelves and other types of speakers that have very low extension, and the 10s don't. And they don't because Jeffrey intentionally tries to avoid over excursion and anything that is going to push out distortion. So you're just going to have a higher crossover, but I can promise you, if you integrate them properly, you're not going to notice.
Yep.
They sound amazing. It's that same characteristic is actually part of all of Ascendo speakers. They don't have the level of low-end excursion that a lot of other speakers do, but they also don't have.
They're not meant to, though.
They have a tremendous amount of dynamic range, and they're fantastic. So don't take that as meaning that it's bad. It just means that you have to have well and properly integrated subs.
And they do take a little bit of EQ to get them where you want them. I mean, out of the box, you may or may not like the way they produce sound, but they've got so much dynamic range that you can use EQ, and that's one of the big advantages to a speaker like that.
Last question. Zach asks, I believe Bob mentioned he will do all DIY speakers in the future. Curious if you will use kits.
Nope.
If so, which?
Nope. Going to do it all from hand or buy it from scratch.
Bob does not use kits.
I have done kits in the past. They're fun.
I know, but you're not going to do it now. You're contemplating buying a CNC and doing all this yourself and building all your own stuff. And it's just
because I want to go for a like true.
He's lost it.
Okay.
We've corrupted Bob.
I want the boxes to put my subs right where they're going to go, so I get a true double bass array. So I want to position my subs correctly. So I'm going to build the subwoofer boxes to accommodate those. And then the other ones, depending on the driver, what I want to do might not be available. It's not really a common thing. We're going to try this out and see if it works.
Last question. Tiki Time says, okay, no BenQ. But are upper price Epson models any good, like the QB 1000, 3000, 7000, or should you stick with JVC? Well, after you guys saw the Experience Center, What's your take on brightness versus native contrast?
Depends on the size of your screen and the gain of it.
Jonathan, do you have an
I
opinion
don't
on that
think
yet?
I don't think there's really a wrong answer here because they're going to present very differently.
Yep.
So the JVC at let's say you talk about a JVC NZ 800, that'd be above 8,000. It's going to have a lot better black for very dim dark content. It's going to look better.
Mhm.
The Epson QB 3000 or 7,000 is going to be a lot brighter than the NZ 8 or NZ 800. So like if you have there's something to be said on both sides, like the Godzilla scene and with that Christie, and it's so bright, and I heard Carp say that's the best demo he's ever seen in his life because it's like so bright, it's like knock your socks off bright.
I thought about
there's-
getting that tattooed on me, hearing that come from Sheldon.
Yeah, so there's a draw to very bright, but then there's also people on the forums, and I'm just both
You're
sides
right.
you hear all the time, like there cannot be enough black level. They are seeking that OLED black level, and you're not going to get OLED black level with the super bright projector.
Nope.
So pick what
You can,
prefer.
but the trade-off is money,
Yeah,
right?
A lot of it.
A lot of money.
But then you're sacrificing brightness for contrast at that point. So you're just coming back down.
I mean, not at that point because.
Oh, well, if you're talking the unlimited money option, then no.
Well, I didn't say there was a cap. I just said money. So.
But I mean, again, it all kind of comes into your space too. So if you're going to say that I'm going to go to a 120, 135 inch non-acoustically transparent positive gain screen, you can do a beautiful picture with a lot of those projectors but you've got to also light control your room.
All right. So sorry, Bob, finish up.
No,
Thought you were done.
No, that's just kind of it. You've got to make sure that what your needs for your projector is going to meet your space. So certain ones are going to have better advantages over others.
What's your pick? And I got a quick question after this one that I'll answer because I think we're all going to say the same thing. What's your pick for a projector at $8,000 or under? What would you buy? Jonathan?
So I haven't seen the 3,000, but we have seen the 1,000. That's 8,000. That's
well, the 3,000 is like
15
grand. It's too expensive. So
I
in
didn't
comparison
think,
to the
I didn't
JVC,
think the QB 1000 was very much of a leg up over the LS 12,000. So to me, if I didn't have my eye thing, I'm probably going for NZ 800. Probably
the NZ 800 is $16,000.
Oh,
So
it's
I
the
have
NZ 700. Yes.
I haven't seen that one either.
Yeah, we haven't seen the new 5s and 7s, and those have
that high contrast optical block on that one's watered down, right? Is it?
Yeah.
How does it compare to the NZ7, the former NZ7? Because I
don't know
know
yet.
that one well.
Never seen it.
Yeah,
Let's compare it to the NZ7. Forget the 700. NZ7. NZ7 versus LS 12,000 or QB 1000
over the NZ7, personally speaking, because I like the LS 12,000 more than NZ7. But I'm not sure that I'm the normal rank and file on that choice. And that's
I'd agree with you on that one. For the price difference between what they were when they came out. I mean, if we're going to say return to 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, between the NZ7 and the LS 12,000, I would probably say LS 12,000 because the NZ7 didn't have the anti-contrast advantage. I mean, it had half the anti-contrast that the NZ7 had. It did have a black floor advantage, but it also cost a lot more. So there was a big advantage to that Epson at that price point. You had to go up to the NZ8 to get kind of a better across the board picture, and that's a significantly more expensive projector.
Yeah, Jonathan.
There's supposedly been some gains on the 7 and 8 or the 500 and 700. So, but we haven't seen them yet.
Jonathan, you need to go.
Yeah, I am gonna probably go. You guys finish up. There's no more questions, I guess, right? All right.
Well, there was another question about projectors and stuff that I'm gonna answer, and I don't want to hold you anymore.
Okay, thanks, guys. I'm gonna go watch a movie with my family.
Bye, Jonathan.
Yep. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
So my thoughts on this: the more I'm around brighter projectors, at least ones with decent contrast. There we go. Decent contrast. It's not like atrocious. I value ANSI way more than I value native. Even on dark movies like Godzilla and stuff, the ANSI contrast, so darks versus the brights, it is just so much more in your face and noticeable and immersive when you get those bright colors. Sure, if I'm watching 1917 on the waking up in Yucca scene, it did not look good.
No,
I will admit that. But
then you go outside and the phosphor starts hitting and it looks amazing.
Yeah, and it's still a dark scene and it looks phenomenal. Like the best thing I've ever seen. So I value personally antsy over native as long as the projector has, I'm going to say 5,000 or 6,000 to one native at least. You get down below that, and I'm not happy with it.
And that's
But
why in the previous generation I said Epson over NZ7.
yeah, and I'm going to stick with that. Epson over NZ7. Now, I have not seen the NZ700, so this is, we're omitting that from this.
Because the
But
500, 700s are supposed to have big bumps in contrasts, and in ANSI contrast, right? Or is that just
I don't
kind
know.
of rumor that popped out?
I don't know. I'm throwing my opinion out here. The QB1000, while it's not a huge jump over the LS12000, I am hopeful, and this is me playing the lottery. I am hopeful that Epson is going to continue to upgrade that tone mapping, and that it's just going to get better. It is noticeably better than the LS12000. It's better, but
in tone mapping or in motion?
In both.
The tone mapping was a little better.
It's better. I didn't say it was like magnificently better. It's just better.
Yes.
And I'm hopeful that if they continue to work on it, that it is going to be much better. So QB1000, it is the next generation, I think, of the LS12000. They've just got it. I hope they continue to work on it. So in my eyes,
processing on everything.
The long-winded answer in that is my pick for all of those projectors, minus the NZ700 because we haven't seen it yet. QB1000 is my go-to.
Now, if you want to pay the U.S. price premium.
Yes. If you're the European price, it's QB1000 every day of the week because it's cheaper. Miguel Munoz asks, hello, will I notice a dB difference for my LCR with the Purified 230 versus HyperX 380 at 8 ohms for above reference listening? What do you recommend? You're not even a 3 dB difference.
Yeah.
You're not going to notice. I mean, maybe if you're really paying attention during AB, you would be, if I was doing it fast enough, you would be able to say, oh, that one's marginally louder. And by marginally, I mean, I have to focus to figure out if that one's louder. If it, by the Purify is going to technically, I think, if that's the normal HyperX, is going to measure slightly better, but they're both phenomenal amps. Buy which one ticks the boxes for you, because I'm betting they're not exactly the same. Buy whichever fits and does what you need it to do. Don't focus on the wattage because that's not enough to make a difference.
One of them has a better damping factor than the other one, but I don't remember which one. They're in the specs.
I don't remember which one either. The Purify, though, I can tell you, is a monster. No, you can throw things at that thing that would can any other amplifier, and it just keeps going. Does not care. I know that from experience. Bruce asked why I didn't get the Eclipse because I didn't want a divorce. It did cross my mind, but then it quickly left. So
where would you put it?
The subwoofer would not have been as big. It wouldn't have gotten bigger.
You'd have to put 332s in the back instead?
I don't know what I would have done, but it didn't happen, and it was not going to happen. It was like an intrusive thought that came into my brain, and then it left because
Imagine trying to dissipate the heat from that thing.
I don't know what I would have done. Okay. Chris asks, back to the projectors. Sony 5000 or NZ500? I think if we're talking MSRP here, NZ500. Do you agree with that? The NZ500, $6,000, 5,000, 5,000.
I have not seen the new one. I mean, so I can't say on that one.
But okay, MP5 against the Sony. Which would you pick?
Probably the MP5.
Yeah, that's what I would pick. But if you get the Sony cheap enough, like the one that I am selling a gentleman tomorrow, it's an old M-Wave one. Sony's not a bad projector. It just doesn't necessarily, it doesn't have an automatic lens. So you lose the ability to do lens memory, but it's not a bad projector. MSRP though, JVC. Not an MSRP though. If you can get the Sony cheap enough, Sony. Unless you can get the JVC at the same price, but I doubt that because they hold their value a little bit longer. Anything else you want to talk about?
Nothing off the top of my head.
Okay. Do I have anything else coming up, going on? I got my Roland Octocapture today. Finally.
Oh, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get all the mics for it too?
Yeah, I have those. Hold on. I think this is one of them. Nope. Here's the calibrator.
Yeah, you've had that for a while though, haven't you? Or did you just get that with the
it
mics?
just came in with the mics.
Okay.
So it's a 94 and 110 dB calibrator, which is can actually allow the measurement mics to become SPL meters. Very important. Here are the mics, or here's one of them, or two of them.
These are the tiny ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
There she is, full XLR. So, with the Ascendo branding on it, super nice. They're all matching microphones. Got all the measurement files. They come in these nice hard cases. I mean, for the price that I got these for, I don't think I can share. It was an insane deal.
Yeah,
So,
no, it sounded like it, and that's a really cool setup. So you can do multiple measurements at the
the
same time.
Octocapture is going to be fantastic with Smart because you can run all four of those microphones at the same time, and get real-time averaging and all kinds of other stuff. So we're breaking
to put tape in multiple mic positions and everything else all around the floor.
Yeah. Oh man, you got anything new coming?
I may wind up buying a couple speaker drivers to start doing some prototypes with the current sales.
Woo!
Maybe today, or maybe wait for Monday and see if anything changes. But I kind of want to get some stuff started.
What are you waiting for? Just do it.
Getting a couple projects done first so my wife doesn't kill me.
She's going to kill you anyway. Oh, those kind of projects. Yes. Because she did give you permission as long as you got other stuff done.
I have permission as long as I get other stuff done.
That's
if I get too distracted on other things, then I will
don't get distracted.
I will not get other stuff done, and then she will get very unhappy with me.
Don't get distracted. That's for sure. I don't think there's anything else. Nope. What should our topic next week be? Are we going to do we did the 20K?
We did the 20K
home theater. Should we do 100K?
Ooh.
Let's do.
You can do a lot with that.
I know. That's exciting.
And the sad part is, by the time you actually start thinking about going back and adding up all the stuff, even in a previous theater,
it adds up very fast.
You hit that really fast by the time you include furniture and room treatments and all the other stuff. It adds up fast.
It does. It does. Let's do 100K.
Okay.
It's going to take a lot of thinking, but let's do that. And I think it'll be cool to see what people end up doing. Jonathan's going to come up with some book like he did last time with all of this research, and he'll probably cheat again.
I don't know. He'll have $6 butt kickers, a chair, and built-in speakers, and
that he got for free because they fell off a truck.
Well, they came from Alibaba, and they came pretty.
So we're just equipment only. 100K.
Yep.
Let's do that, and then we can talk about rooms and important things that we would start considering with rooms that are getting into that price point and all that good stuff and good jazz. Next is $1 million. Yeah, we could do that.
No.
They'd
have to look at stuff that I don't even want to look at. Well, I mean, I can see kind of what that would look like.
No comment. I don't like thinking about that. Anyway, John hired a team to make speakers next week. He probably did, and they've all got yellow stickers.
I have to make sure that Jonathan does not try to cut 4x8 sheets on a skill saw or on a job site saw. Whether or not that means I just lend him my track saw for a couple
He doesn't need a track saw. If he's just cutting 4x8 sheets, just get a long sheet of, not a sheet, but a piece of wood.
A straight edge and a circular saw.
Yeah.
It's just fine. And you buy one piece of foam board insulation and you cut through it every time, and it works perfect.
Yeah.
The track saw is just easier.
It is. They're expensive to get a decent one. I mean, you could get a cheap one, but the problem with the cheap ones is your cuts get all screwed up then. because they
Yeah, and
drift
that's the same
really.
problem with a circular saw and a guide. As long as you clamp the guide down, you get a decent guide, you can do it just fine.
Yeah.
It's just the track saw is a little easier because the offset of the shoe.
Yeah.
Because if most of the track saws you cut through like a rubber strip or something, and you lay that down right exactly where you want your cut to be, so you don't have to worry about not. You don't have to say I'm going to set my guide down, and then I need a 3.5-inch offset to where my blade is, so my cuts aren't as exactly
You know what
accurate.
you mean, Ernie? I shouldn't use Fisher Price clamps.
Yeah,
No, you definitely need good clamps. Good clamps are important no matter what, regardless of what he does. You need good clamps. But I don't have anything else. I'm gonna go try and watch some movies, and I got to work on the 32 that I got back up and operational because something's telling me that it's not playing. So I got to figure what's going out with that.
is this the new amp that came in?
Yeah, it's a configuration thing. I'm sure
Oh.
it's fine. I just gotta figure out what's going. I played a test tone, but then I was looking at something and it gave me an inkling that it wasn't doing anything.
You're not running it in bridge mode, right?
No, I'm not running it in bridge mode. Can you think of anything else that Jonathan could use aside from that? I don't think so. I think he should just do the whole thing with a fine saw.
No. No, I mean I just don't like job site saws. I mean, I don't.
No, the fences always drift or break, and then they bind up, and it's just the tables aren't very big. And it'd be different if he used the job site saw, threw it into a homemade table, and had a huge surface area to be able to
Correct.
use it on. But
Yes, because there's some nice ones you can get like that.
yeah, and the DeWalt ones aren't bad. The problem is the material's hanging off, and then you've got all this weight on the blade. It's last thing you want is, and then it gets stuck, and then it shoots it all back out towards you, or pulls your finger into it, and
The direct drive motors on those aren't the best either. That's kind of the other problem. I mean, I still cut tile with the, I don't know, $69 Husky wet saw that my father-in-law gave me years ago, and it cuts mostly straight lines.
mostly straight.
Yeah.
Mostly straight. All right. Well, we'll do the $100,000 home theater next week and see what we all come up with. I think it's just going to be accelerated or more upscaled versions of our $20,000 home theaters. I think it's the direction we're going to go.
Yeah, probably.
But equipment only. We'll see where the night takes us or where the week takes us on that one. But guys, hopefully you have a great holiday or continue to have a great holiday. Hopefully everybody had, at least in the United States, a couple good days off, ate too much food, and we'll see you next week, I think. Do I have anything going until next week? No, so I'll be here. Bob, I'm sure I'll see you before then, or at least talk to you before then.
Yep.
Sure, I'll talk to Jonathan before then. Stay safe out there, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions, need anything, need to pick anything up, feel free to send a message to web@hometheatersavants.com, even if it's just for advice. Happy to help you out and see what we can do. But again,